everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm back in my car because I found from the last video I loved the vibes. I just really liked that video, so that's why I'm back here. Today we're going to be talking about a movie that I saw last week on opening night. The movie is Regretting You, and the reason why we're talking about this on my book channel is because this movie is based on Colleen Hoover's novel of the same name. If you know anything about Colleen Hoover, she is a contemporary author. I would not call her a romance author, okay? Let's get that straight. Me and Colleen Hoover, I am Colleen Hoover's biggest hater, but to be honest, I say I'm her biggest hater, but really I'm her biggest fan. I would not be on YouTube if it were not for Colleen Hoover. My first YouTube video ever was on Colleen Hoover. Okay, it was on a Colleen Hoover book. I have Colleen Hoover to thank for my career in YouTube. I honestly am her biggest fan because whatever she writes, even though it is the most outrageous, over-the-top plot or things happening in the book, I will pick it up and I'm sad. I'm sad when it comes to her books. There's a reason why they're so popular. Of course, I get mad at a lot of her books because they're promoting things that maybe are very toxic. Maybe they're romanticizing some things they shouldn't be romanticizing. Colleen Hoover is a very controversial figure. We should have known as a society after the whole debacle with It Ends With Us last year. If you know anything about that, Colleen Hoover, just having her name in something, there's always some sort of drama. All right, we're going to get into my thoughts on the movie, especially as a person who's read the book, but I haven't read the book in years. I haven't read the book in so long. And so watching the movie, I was sort of getting a refresher on the things that happened in the book. And I haven't read a Colleen Hoover book in over a year and a half. It's been a long time since I've picked up a Colleen Hoover book, but I'm well versed in Colleen Hoover, okay? I've read maybe 5, 6 of her books. None of them I thought were amazing at all, except, honestly, this might be so unpopular, but I actually really liked It Ends With Us. Yeah, I actually really liked that book. Yes, it's a little cringy, of course, you know, but I think when it comes to the messaging and the interest, I thought it was the least problematic of all of her other books. Regretting You, when I read the book, I was so bored. It was the most forgettable Colleen Hoover book I've ever read, and that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot because if you know anything about the type of books Colleen Hoover writes, they are so outrageous. They are so out there. Reading Colleen Hoover is like watching reality television. It is so entertaining. You cannot look away. It is like a car crash, you know? It's a complete mess. It's horrible a lot of the time, in my opinion, okay? But you cannot look away. You cannot help but be entertained by what is going on. Reading a Colleen Hoover book is like watching Love is Blind, the newest season. So outrageous, so what is going on? It is like watching Temptation Island. It is like the craziest reality show that you could ever watch. And you will not be bored at a Colleen Hoover book, okay? That is why I feel like I am a Colleen Hoover hater, but I am also her biggest fan. All right, I can't help but keep her in my mouth. And that's on me. Like, that is a detriment on me, okay? That is my fault. That is a fault of my own. I eat it up. So I saw Regretting You on opening night last week. The title of this video might be Regret Watching Regretting You, but I should have known what I was getting into in the beginning as the movie started and how messy this movie was, aka how messy this book was, because we start off the movie with McKenna Grace's character, who is the daughter, stopping her car to go help give a ride to her crush, who is Mason Thames's character. And the plot is so messy. Like, I could explain this plot. This plot is so messy and so all over the place. She picks up Mason Thames's character from the side of the road, and he's moving a city limit sign farther away. Why, you might ask? Because it's a little hee hee ha ha joke that he wants to move the sign so that the place that he loves to get delivered can deliver at his house, because the zone, the city limit, the delivery zone is the city limits zone. So he decides to move the sign so that slowly every single week, the more he moves the sign, it'll get closer to his house, and then the sign will be right by his house. And so he can finally order delivery pizza. I don't think that's how delivery works. I don't think if you just move the sign, like, I'm pretty sure it's in the system. You know, there's some sort of technological system that shows the zone of where you're supposed to deliver. That made no sense. But anyway, basically, the story, being as messy as it is, watching this movie, I was like, yeah, I remember this being the most boring Colleen Hoover book. And usually Colleen Hoover is not boring. But this movie, you could tell, oh, this is for sure the most boring Colleen Hoover book. But I'm saying it's the most boring Colleen Hoover book, while it also being the most outrageous plot. But it's not as outrageous as Colleen Hoover's other plots, let me tell you. Okay, you can go watch my video on November 9 if you want to get a crazier plot. If you want to get a problematic love story, you can go watch my video on Ugly Love, where step-siblings fall in love with each other. Yeah. You can watch my videos on all the other Colleen Hoover books that I've done. I think I talked very briefly about Regretting You, but it was just such a forgettable book. But I'm also saying that with this crazy plot, because what happens is the mom of McKenna Grace's character is Allison Williams. She got pregnant very, very early on, and so she decides to marry her baby daddy, right? It's 4 best friends. Allison Williams is married to Clara's dad. Dave Franco's character is married to some other girl because she later down the line gets knocked up. Are you following? This is so confusing. I need a draw. We have Morgan plus Chris, okay? They have a daughter named Clara, okay? Then we have Jonah, and he gets with Jenny. So Jonah and Jenny are together. I forget all their names. What the heck? I'm so sorry, I'm editing this video and I realized that I had been using the name of the actress that plays Jenny the entire time. So every single time I say Willa in this video, just know that I mean Aunt Jenny in the movie and the book. Morgan and Chris have a baby. Her name is Clara. Okay, we follow Clara's story. She gets with a guy named Miller. So Morgan and Chris have a baby. Her name's Clara. She gets with a guy named Miller. Morgan and Chris and Jonah and Willa, they are 4 best friends, okay? Morgan is secretly in love with Jonah, but they don't want to admit it together. Chris, okay, has an affair with Willa, but we don't know that in the beginning of the story, okay? So what happens? Chris and Willa, one day in the morning before school, Clara's dad gets into his car, says, oh, I'm going to work, hee hee ha ha. Willa says, oh yeah, I'm going to work, hee hee ha ha. They go their separate ways. Clara goes to school. Claire at school is texting her aunt Willa, okay? And then we find out that hours later, let's see a little family tree, Morgan, all right, Clara's mom gets a call. The call is, your husband is in the hospital. Morgan runs to the hospital. At the hospital, she's looking for her husband, Chris. Jonah shows up to the hospital too. Run, he's going to the hospital. He says, where is she? And Morgan says, where is Chris? Chris? I don't know what's happened to Chris. No, I'm talking about Willa. Where's Willa? We find out Chris and Willa were having a secret affair for years and years and years. And mind you, Jonah and Willa share a baby from a one-night stand. This baby's name is Elijah. Okay? Chris and Willa are in a car accident. Why were they in the car together? I thought they were both going to work. No, turns out they were having an affair. They were having an affair and they both died in the car during their little get-together, sexy times, all right? Whilst having an affair. Both of them died, Chris and Willa, the two blondies of the movie, okay? Basically, the two brunettes are secretly in love with each other, but the two blondies are also secretly having an affair. They basically got with the wrong people, and so this affair comes to light because of a car crash where the two blondies die in the car crash. And all of this comes to light in the car crash. Now, does Clara ever question why Chris and Willa were in the car together, where her dad Chris and Auntie Willa were in the car together? Not really. She just thought, I guess, was dropping off Willa at work or something, but she has no questions about it, whatever. No communication in this movie whatsoever. This is messy, okay? I wish I had pictures. I should have done the pictures. That is how the story starts to unfold. As complicated as this movie was, the most interesting part of the movie was Clara and her relationship with Miller, with Mason Thames' character. Because everyone else had no chemistry. The two brunettes who figure out that the two people in their life who died, they secretly had loved each other but never admitted it over the years. Communication. It's just so messy, but also so like uninteresting at the same time because there's no connection between them. Also, they do this little CGI thing with their face where Alison Williams, just because they filtered out her skin so much to make her look younger when they should have just hired younger actors. Like, it looks so creepy to me. The way that they filtered her face, it looks like it was AI or something, or it looks like just like photoshopped to the gods, truly. And it like really threw me off. Like, she had not a single wrinkle when she was laughing, not a single laugh line. Like, it was just off-putting, very uncanny. The only people who had chemistry and that I cared about in this whole entire story was Clara and Miller. But the thing is, Clara is also not that good of a person, pretty selfish, doesn't really think much of anybody around her, but yes, she's grieving. I wish we got to see more of how she deals with grief. I think McKenna Grace did a pretty good job. I cannot believe for the life of me that the young actors in this movie were carrying the movie more than the veterans. Dave Franco, Allison Williams, no chemistry at all. And the way that Dave Franco speaks sometimes is just it's so Dave Franco. Dave Franco plays Dave Franco. Like, that is who he plays in every single story, movie, whatever it may be. And sometimes he'll say something, but he says something in a way that is so, and this isn't a bad thing or a good thing at all. It's just the way he speaks. It's very like aggressive. Like, his voice will rasp and he'll be like, there is a scene where it's a flashback when all the parents were younger and Dave goes, "Get in the pool!" And it just threw me off. It's so funny. Just the way he speaks, it just doesn't fit the vibe sometimes of like what's going on. And so many parts in this movie are just, ironically, it's just so funny. Get in the pool! Come on, get in the pool! Sorry. But yeah, no chemistry whatsoever. And it just felt like once you figure out this huge thing of, oh, they're having this affair, then you also find out that Jonah and Willa had a baby, right? The one blondie and the one brunette have a baby, Dave Franco and the other girl, named Elijah. Elijah is not even Jonah's baby. So Willa, girl, crazy, dragged Jonah into a relationship where this baby is not related to him in the slightest. But now this baby has nobody. You know why? Because his real parents both died in a car crash. This baby is an orphan, and the only person this baby has in his life is Jonah. And you know, it is a perfect ending if Morgan and Jonah get together, because Elijah and Clara are technically half siblings. So we're keeping it all in the family. Family gets to stay together, okay? Long story short, I don't know what this video is about. I just wanted to talk about it. Once you get all those big points of the story, after that, nothing happens. Things do happen, but it's just uninteresting because the chemistry is not there, and it's because none of the characters talk. And I feel like the underlying theme of the story is maybe parental-child relationships and how you deal with grief. Like, Allison Williams' character is the mom to Clara, but they're so misunderstood, like they don't understand each other. That was what it made it seem like, especially in the book, right? It's about how the mom and daughter relationship, they don't understand each other, they don't get along, they never have faith in each other, they're always fighting, they're always arguing. And then on top of that, when the dad dies, it's like, how can we deal with the grief of that? But I really don't think Colleen Hoover can write a book that is not so confusing and complicated and out there. She cannot write a story about a mother-daughter relationship without putting all these other different plot points in it. Like, she just cannot physically do it. I don't think she has it in her. And you know what? I respect it. I respect it. It just felt like, though, after all those things started coming out, by the halfway point of the movie and the book, we already know all the big twists. We know whose parent is who. We know who's having an affair with who. We know who's secretly in love with who. And that was the most interesting part of it. And then you find out all the way at the end, of course, in any Colleen Hoover book, you have to have a stalker boyfriend. So Miller, from the very beginning of the book, I keep saying book, I mean movie, but it is also in the book, very beginning of the movie, had always had a crush on Clara, and he had a girlfriend at the time. And so everyone is a little bit, like, everyone's a cheater in this. Because Miller, he had a girlfriend. But apparently you find out in the very end of the movie that he only had a girlfriend because he didn't think he could ever get Clara to tell him the time of day. And so he thought, okay, I'm just gonna go have a relationship with whoever's second best. Red flag. Even though Miller in the entire story and movie is the only tolerable person. But anyway, yeah, I just think that when it started to actually get into the nitty-gritty of, oh, it wants to be a deep story about family and about grief and about all those other things, it just was overshadowed by all this other stuff that did not matter, and it was too complicated. But even if it's complicated, you know, life is complicated. That's okay. It's messy. There was just too many things going on that you never cared about one thing more than the other. Honestly, I'll say the movie was kind of funny though, I'm not gonna lie. But watching this movie, yeah, it was one of the more forgettable Colleen Hoover books. And you will always get a ridiculous plot when it comes to a Colleen Hoover adaptation. I can't wait for the next adaptation though. I can't wait for it. The next Colleen Hoover adaptation, I think, is Verity, which I'm actually very excited to see. Because I actually didn't think Verity was that crazy. And I didn't think it was that bad. My overall view on Regretting You the movie, it was meh. Too much going on. No chemistry with any of the characters. I gave it a 2.5 stars out of 5 because, yeah. Also, Miller with the damn lollipops. What is going on with them lollipops, man? Like, is it Halloween every day? Is it like a stim? Like, I don't understand the lollipop. Are they allowing you to eat lollipops at school all the time like that? Like, what is going on with the lollipops? Can I have one? Is there always like a stash of lollipops in your pocket? This video is so pointless. But thanks for hearing me. Thank you so much for watching. I am reading a book called Saving Six right now. So that should be what my next video is on. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this movie below, or if you've read the book, what did you think? Book 2 movie adaptation. I thought it was a good adaptation of the book, to be honest. I just don't think that the source material is all that, and it's so messy, but it's messy to the point where nothing matters anymore. But I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Please let me know your thoughts below. Like this video if you did like it. If you did not like the video, please just click off. Please do not dislike the video. It will hurt my feelings. Please subscribe to me if you would love to see more videos from me. I usually talk about books, but I just wanted to ramble today. I was feeling in a very yappy mood, so today's my yap of the day. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see. Like and subscribe. I will catch you in the next one.